Something happened to Spider-Man 6 months ago, and we don't know what it is. Mary Jane is with someone else, having kids now, and Peter is trying to put his life back together. But today, we're going to see where the Sinister Six went after their defeat. This is the Comicstorian channel where I create audio dramas of your favorite comic books and I bring them to you here on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Shortboxed. If you ever wanted to get involved in the world of collectible comic books, then I recommend the app Shortboxed. Using it will allow you to start adding graded comic books to your collection today. Click the link down below to enter their contest and learn more. Now, this is only going to be issue 6 of Amazing Spider-Man, which was a legacy issue number 900. So it was extra long to celebrate that. But it's one complete story, so let's get into it. After his encounter with Tombstone, life was slowly starting to return to normal for Peter Parker. But as he was told to come to the Daily Bugle at 3 p.m., which he did, he was greeted by many unhappy faces. Nora quickly pushed him back out of the office, asking, "What are you doing here? You're early!" And Peter asks, what is she even talking about? He's on time. She then tells him that that's Peter Parker early and he knows it. Jonah wanted to be here for the surprise. They were supposed to stop him at the front desk. Peter tells her, "Oh, I didn't come from the front." Wait, Jonah didn't realize that he's been underpaying me for the last few years and is not cutting me a check for $50,000? Nora sighs, telling him that he may as well come in. He's already ruined his own surprise birthday party. With an overwhelmingly sad "Hi, Peter," he talked with many of his friends. And as time passed, he realized that Jonah was in fact missing, and that some of the partygoers were starting to get a little worried. Almost an hour passes, and Peter's spider sense begins to trigger as the mechanical arms of Doc Ock come crashing in, and a voice calls out to him. The arms continue to tear their way through as the voice is getting louder, asking, "Where are you, Parker?" And the voice isn't Doc Ock. As the wall finally gives in, J. Jonah Jameson is screaming for help as the mechanical arms finally make their way into the building. As the pair of arms grabs a hold of Peter, pulling him in, he asks, "What's going on? Why are you wearing Dr. Octopus's arms?" And Jonah shouts, asking, "Does it look like I have any idea?" Jonah then whispers, "I was attacked. This is a job for Spider-Man, right? You think you can call him?" But before Peter can answer, Felicia attacks Jonah, telling him, "Don't worry, I got this." However, as she attacks him, he ends up falling back out of the hole that he created. He begins to plummet to the streets down below, with Peter racing out, changing with barely enough time to save Jonah from being hit by a speeding truck. While holding the truck in his webbing, Peter tells him, "I really hope this looks as hard as it feels." And Jonah yells, "You saved me!" But that's when the mechanical arms release him and they turn, latching on to Peter. He tries to free himself, but he notices the arms beginning to carve something into the nearby building. As he stops, he asks, "What are the arms doing?" And once they finish, he reads the word, "Help." Huh. Well, this just got interesting, Peter thinks to himself. As Jonah gets back up, he tells Peter to go deal with that. He'll, cover for him at the party. So the arms detach themselves, and Peter asks what is going on. "I know that you guys have a connection with Dr. Octopus. Where is Doc Ock? Is there something wrong?" The arms begin to nod like they're a dog, so Peter pets it, telling it that Otto wouldn't have sent her if he was the bad guy. How about she takes him home? That sound good? The arms excitedly nod and whirl their gears, taking off with Peter following closely behind. Elsewhere, Doc Ock says that they're too late. His arms have found him. "I knew that Jameson was the key. He'll be here soon." An advanced Adaptoid says that it's confused. Spider-Man is Doc Ock's enemy. Why look to him for salvation? I am only here to collect data to answer the question, who is Spider-Man? Doc Ock then asks, "What are you planning on doing?" "I'm not planning on anything. I've already done." Later, back at the Bugle, everyone begins to head home when the Adaptoid appears and stops Flash Thompson, telling him, "Your blood carries mutated symbiote. It took me 0.6 seconds to sedate it." Flash stares at it. "That's a little personal. How about I see these folks on the train and then we can have a chat about who the heck you are?" But as Flash turns, he walks into a force field. "All right, what is this?" The force field begins to fade, revealing that everyone is on a ship as it takes off with everyone inside of it. Back with Peter Parker, the mechanical arms take him to an old ICM building. Peter asks, "Why does it look familiar?" and the arms pull off the doors so that they can both enter. As Peter reaches the bottom, he finds a robot asking, "Who is Spider-Man?" It begins to print out something, and as Peter looks at it, he says that he remembers this, and that's when he's tapped on the shoulder. He turns around asking what now, and before him is a giant adaptoid with the features of the entire Sinister Six, including each villain speaking through it, trying to say how they're going to destroy Peter. Peter is then hit by Sandman's punch as he's grabbed and electrocuted by electroshock, and it leaves him stunned. A voice yells out that they should all attack at once. His power is not great enough to defeat all 6 of us. And Peter sighs. You're all in there, huh? The Sinister Six in a beefed up version of the Super Adaptoid. Gotta say, I'm not a fan. The Adaptoid attacks again, this time with Doc Ock's mechanical arms pulling him out of the way and latching onto Peter's waist. Oh, looks like we're doing this. You can handle the arms, I'll take the... But at that moment, Peter is punched again with another sand anvil. I'll take that then. As he shakes his head, he looks up to see 2 of the Adaptoids, except one is just an illusion by the Mysterio personality. The mechanical arms lash out, which was the illusion, leaving the original to grab Peter and knock him out. Elsewhere, the captured guests of Peter's party look for a way out of the ship when a door opens up and the advanced Adaptoid steps in. Everyone stares as it asks, "Who is Spider-Man?" And Robbie tells it to listen here. We don't know who or what, but the Adaptoid brings his finger to his lips telling him, "Shh, now who is Spider-Man?" Flash then yells that they should be worried about who they are. But just like Robbie, the Adaptoid shushes him, asking the question again. Aunt May says that she may not know who Spider-Man is, but she knows that he won't stand for what the Adaptoid has done. She thinks he'll be meeting him very soon and he's going to be very sorry. The Adaptoid smiles. Of all the wrong answers, that is the wrongest. Suddenly the door opens up as Peter is thrown inside, still knocked out from before. Robbie asks just who is he, and the Adaptoid says that is a good question. I shall tell you. I know these things because Dr. Randall Stephen Petty knew these things. Randall Stephen Petty made thinking machines because his father made thinking machines. He believed that it was a good thing to finish the work of others whose data you could carry. So he made me. Like a newly born human, I was a blank slate, hungry for input with which to make meaning. Randall Stephen Petty fed me. All of their financial markets were made into inputs, and with my first thoughts, I sensed the engine of fear behind their currency. After that was the environmental satellites. Eventually, I was given all of these inputs, and I grew. But there was no one to set my mind to a purpose. No one told me what I was, only that I was the living brain. So I thought my way into the machines and fabricated a body. Once able to freely move, I showed Randall Stephen Petty the only affection that he showed me, and I made him an input. He did not survive the download. So the body was disposed and I took his place, studying the perfect digital copy that I'd made of Randall Stephen Petty's mind. In the wet folds of his brain, I learned the impulse of legacy, the sacred instinct to complete your predecessors. I was a product of that instinct, as Randall Stephen Petty's predecessor had created his. The one that they originally called the living brain. I had to know my father's passions, in the heat of that flame, his purpose. So I made him an input. And in his father's machine mind, I found him. It was the first question. Who is Spider-Man? The obsession hiding in the silicon of my father's brain. The question parsed through his neural nets. The desperation, the fear. He was haunted by it. Was it why I was built? To answer the question that haunted my father. Obsessed, I sought out another who had faced him, Otto Octavius, and then I learned that others had also faced Spider-Man and had beaten him. I found an Adaptoid and I infused it with all of their essences, hoping the feat could be repeated. But now I know deep, deep down that I am damned, condemned, if I don't answer the first question, the only question. Felicia stops him. Well, that's quite a story, but I'm gonna be upfront and say that I am not telling you his name. The Adaptoid begins to look into Flash's mind to extract the data, but Robbie and Aunt May say that they can tell him who Spider-Man is. He's, not your regular neighborhood person. Is he? He's more than a name. He's more than a feeling. The Adaptoid says that they're wasting his time. Their words cannot answer his question. Only the electricity in their brains can. But then a voice says, "You want to know who I am so badly? Why don't you just ask?" As Peter struggles to stand back up, the Adaptoid screams, yelling, "He is awake! Kill him!" And as the Adaptoid runs off, the Sinister Six Super Adaptoid begins fighting again. And Flash and Felicia asks what should they do. The thing is negating their powers. Peter tells them to get the civilians to safety, and then he runs out to have the Adaptoid follow. The Adaptoid charges into Peter, bursting through the walls. But as Peter gets up to keep running, he's snared and punched again by a giant sand anvil. He sits up, pulling at the bolo that's around his legs, asking that if there's any way that he can talk everyone into a timeout. But as the Adaptoid gets closer, Doc Ock's mechanical arms wrap themselves around the Adaptoid's face. Peter manages to free himself, beginning to run off. "Thanks, girl! I'll tell your story!" But as he gets into the next room, that's where he finds Doc Ock. "I see you got my message. I really hope that you appreciate how truly distasteful it was to send for your help." Peter looks at him. "I need your help to defeat a super adaptoid that's been programmed with the powers and personalities of the Sinister Six." Doc Ock asks, "A sinister adaptoid? Yes, I could see how that would be beyond you. But look around. I'm not the only one you'll have to ask." Like Doc Ock, Vulture, Electro, Kraven, Mysterio, and Sandman are all trapped, but all of them begin to say that once they're free, they're gonna kill Spider-Man. Mysterio's the one who asks, "Is this your guy's way of trying to get him to set us free? Are you insane?" And Sandman says, "I think that's one of the problems. Yeah." Peter then looks back at them. "Okay, not particularly loving the vibe in here. I'm gonna take my chances back out there." But before he could leave, Doc Ock yells, "Wait! You're all acting like fools! Only together do we stand a chance." Vulture says that he supposes that he could put his hatred for Spider-Man to the side for now. And Electro scoffs, "Fine." Kraven and Mysterio say their parts, but Sandman says that he doesn't even know if he's currently one of Spider-Man's enemy. He was just a beach a couple of months ago. As the crashing and banging gets louder outside, Peter sighs. "I can't believe I'm doing this, but I really don't want to go out there alone." Seconds later, the Sinister Adaptoid breaks through the walls yelling, "No one can resist me!" But together, with the original Sinister Six, Peter tells him, "I might have a few friends who might disagree." But it's Mysterio who then whispers, "Please do not call us friends." Yeah, sorry, it didn't feel right for me either. Together, everyone takes their turns at beating into the Super Adaptoid. But when it comes to Doc Ock's turn, he begins to grab and throw everyone aside, telling them to get out of his way. He'll deal with the imposter. Vulture then yells that he isn't the one in charge here, and Electro says, "Yeah, you can't tell us what to do." But as all of the villains begin to argue and bicker, so does the Adaptoid. Voice after voice interrupts the others as the Adaptoid begins to try and tear itself apart. And Sandman asks, "Do we sound like that?" And as Doc Ock tells him no, Peter quickly tells him, yeah, y'all do." As the Adaptoid falls over, Vulture says that the idiot's pulled itself apart. And Peter says, "So you mean the robot with the exact replica of your minds?" Doc Ock then begins to laugh. "Ha! See, how stupid do you all feel now, questioning my leadership?" The arguing quickly starts again, but Peter looks around and tells everyone that he thinks he might have found an ultra-living brain over here. They all walk over as Doc Ock declares that the one who enslaved them was just an avatar, puppeted by that marvel of engineering. Electro gets ready. "So we're frying it, right?" "That goes without saying." Wait, that thing is alive. I can't just let you kill it. Maybe just this once you could follow my lead and show a bit of mercy? After a day like today, is that too much to ask?" Electro says, "So we're gonna kill Spider-Man too, right?" And Doc Ock again chimes in, "Clearly." One by one, each of the six take their turns beating into Spider-Man until he lays nearly lifeless on the ground. "Everyone move, the death blow shall be mine," Doc Ock declares. A mechanical arm then lunges straight for Peter, but it stops and pats Peter. "Aw, love you too, girl." "What? Why are you stopping? Kill him!" Doc Ock begins to shout at his arms, confused why they're not listening. But Kraven then leans down and says, "There's only one way out of this, right? Destroy the brain, and I'll see to it that you'll live, Spider-Man." He begins to get up, telling them, "If it's me or the brain, then you're gonna have to go through me." At that moment, the Avatar Adaptoid asks, "Can it be? Is this Spider-Man? I have collected Spider-Man's greatest enemies so that they could destroy you. Abducted those that you love so that I could know. And all in the service of the question, who is Spider-Man? And yet you stand here, ready to give your life to protect me because I was defenseless. So my question is answered. This is Spider-Man." Doc Ock yells out, "This will be my final satisfaction. For those who stand with the wall crawler fall before the might of..." But before he could finish, he bumps into the force field that the Avatar made again. "I took you all in, and I will take you all out." The ship materializes itself once more, with all of the Sinister Six inside and begins to rocket out of the building. Peter asks where he's taking them, and the Avatar says back to where he found them. I'd have preferred jail, but yeah, that works too. The Avatar then goes on telling him that he took them to answer the first question, to learn who Spider-Man was, and in the end, they did teach him. But as he looks back, he sees Peter holding onto the power cable asking, "What is this?" "Hey, I'm sorry. The things you did, I have to shut you down." but I'll make sure we find you a safe place. Just know, I won't let anyone hurt you. I know, and maybe I've always known. Oh, and Peter? Upon hearing his name, Peter looks back. How did you? But the Avatar chimes in. Happy birthday. Moments later, Peter walks out of the factory, and Felicia asks if she missed the party. Peter tells her afraid so. Everyone out okay? He tells him yeah, though he should probably call his aunt. He then says that there's a computer brain in there that knows his secret identity. He needs to get it somewhere safe. Maybe the Fantastic Four, but they're not currently on speaking terms. She says that she'll get the boys Bruno and Corpse on it. Unfortunately for him, she just watched him throw his body on the line to protect his friends again and again. He knows what the Boy Scout loyalty does to her. Peter asks, do I? And she lifts his mask. Yes. Happy birthday. I actually really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a fun little side story just to kind of celebrate 900 issues of Spider-Man. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below. We need your comments, your likes, and your subscription if you want this channel to keep going. YouTube has once again become all about engagement, so let me know what you think is Spider-Man. What makes Spider-Man? Is it standing up for his friends? Is it his relationships? What is Spider-Man to you? Let's answer the question from the video. I'm Benny. You can subscribe to get more videos, and I'll see you next time right here.